So welcome to my 2025 country Christmas little kitchen tour, and we might throw the living room in there as well. And since we all come in the back door and I feel like y'all are my friends as well, I'm just going to bring y'all in the back door. Okay, a lot of the things just are the same, and then I try to use a lot of my vessels and just put and use Christmassy things on them. So we'll just start over here on this countertop and let me show y'all what I did. I just have this little thrifted black box that I made over. And during Christmas, I like to change out the knobs. I got these at Hobby Lobby and they look like poinsettias to me. So I like to change those out. I normally have the blue ones on there. Where are they? There they are. I normally have those on there, but I like to switch them out for Christmas. And this is where I keep like my little weekly vitamin thing and stuff in there now. So yeah, that's just what I have there. That's the little lamp that I got at TJ Maxx. Was going to use it in my bedroom, but I only had one, so I decided to use it in here. And I'm also going to show y'all what this looks like at night, because that's when I love it the most. And then I just have, you know, some more thrifted pieces here. That actually came from my Aunt Kathy, and I love it. It just reminds me of my childhood, so I will never get rid of that. And then just a thrifted rolling pin and a few little pieces there. Somebody's asked me about these curtains recently, and I actually just made these out of material from Hobby Lobby. That's all I did there. And then these little curtains above the sink are the same way. I just made those. And then all of this decor that you see hanging on the wall and around the kitchen sink, this is pretty much all thrifted except for like the florals and stuff. I love to decorate my windowsill. Oh, the little wooden Christmas tree with the burgundy ribbon, that's actually from Hobby Lobby this year. So I hope to do a lot of after Christmas shopping this year and get some more burgundy things. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, just a lot of little pictures and creamers that have been thrifted. I love those. And I also like to kind of decorate around my sink just to make it fun. The little gingerbread soap dispenser is from Hobby Lobby. This little bowl that I use to hold this sponge in is thrifted. And then moving over on this side, I brought this little saucer in here just because I thought it looked so cute. I think that just dressed that up really pretty right there. And I just have my cast iron pots that I actually use hanging on the wall there. So yeah, this is like one of my favorite little spots in my kitchen, probably because I do spend so much time here at the sink that I just really want it to feel, I don't know, pretty and fun. So, and then over here, there used to be some metal things on these, and I ripped that out because it was so ugly to me. And then I just used some of that same material just to kind of keep that primitive theme going through the kitchen. So I just used like some foam board and kind of glued to those and added that there. And then we have some thrifted things over here in the corner. I might have to turn the brightness up for y'all a little bit. Okay, so the chicken tin, that is a thrifted piece. And I keep our tea bags in that. We love sweet tea, so we keep our tea bags in that. So this little black oven that you see here, that's thrifted, as well as the bowl that's inside holding my big baking potatoes. That is a camping oven, I was told, a vintage one. So I love that. Sometimes I'll put things in there to display for the holidays, but I just didn't do that this year. I used my Santa mugs somewhere else. A little thrifted light there in the back that has a really primitive look to it that I like. I'm trying really hard to keep the shadows out for y'all, but it may be impossible all the time. I love collecting pretty and just different and unique cutting boards of all sizes. So I just have like a little collection there, and I do actually use some of those. And then over here, I have all of my wooden spoons and stuff here in this thrifted pitcher. And I use these on a daily basis. Like I use those all the time. And then just moving along over here, I don't always have this here on the stove top, but I wanted it to look pretty. And we have a party coming up here at my house, so I wanted to have this out for that. Right above it, I keep a little shelf that I get more comments on than I can keep up with. So many people love this little shelf that is above my stovetop. And so many of y'all have told me that you did the same thing and you went out and thrifted you a little shelf and you use it above your stovetop as well. I honestly don't know what made me want to do that one day, but I had my husband put some screws in. It is literally just held up by a couple of screws. He hit them in some studs, and I never have a problem with this shelf and cooking or anything like that. So many little thrifted pieces you might notice up here. Love this. Like I said, I just have a combination of thrifted, retail, and DIY homemade. So this little placemat is thrifted, as well as the Lazy Susan is thrifted. I honestly can't remember if I thrifted this wreath and then just kind of dressed it up, or if I got that retail. That's one of those things I just can't remember. But I did make this candle myself, and I absolutely love it. Kind of garnished this wreath with this little black handled, it's like part of a mixing thing, and my son-in-law Josh picked that up for me at the Goodwill bins because he said he knew I would love it, and I do. It looks perfect in there. It adds just a little hint of black. I do like to hang baskets just because I feel like it gives that very country cottage look. I mean, if you look at old school pictures and videos of really old country cottages, they just have baskets hanging everywhere. So sometimes I'll use these like to throw rolls in, you know, like put a towel or something in it and I can put rolls in it or something like that, or fruit, you know, something like that if I'm needing something extra to put some fruit in. And then here's just how this area looks. I just have a thrifted strainer up there, which I do use. And then this little gingerbread tin, he's strictly for decor. And then my thrifted steak knife set, I use that on a daily basis. That was an amazing find, and I use it daily. And then most recently, I found this little copper piece here that is holding my eggs. Trying to step back so there's not a bad shadow for y'all. Hopefully this gives y'all lots of ideas. I know it's kind of late in the season to be putting up a Christmas home tour, so if you were looking for ideas from my home tour, I apologize, but we have just been so busy, and then sickness has kind of hit our house, so it kind of put a halt on me doing my home tour. But maybe it'll give you some ideas for next year, maybe some things that you want to be looking for Christmas for next year. And then we have my 1960s oven that still works. I told myself a long time ago that I would not buy another oven until this one died. I really did not think it would live this long, but yes, she still lives. And you cannot hardly find new ovens to fit this size wall anymore. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do when she actually does die. Let me know if you've ever had to replace one like this. But yeah, I just did like a little DIY curtain again up at the top there. Just trying to kind of keep that look going throughout. Over here on the other side of the oven, I have my faithful copper pieces that are always there. And then down here on the countertop, I tried to kind of keep it pretty minimal over here on these countertops because I do cook and need places to put, you know, food for preparing and eating and all the things. So I just have some simple little things over here that have like some red touches in it. Christmas tree. And then that little thrifted, all of this is actually thrifted over here, so. And then my little Target lamp that I really, really love. Hopefully the color's not too bad for y'all with that on. And then I have my thrifted bread box that I made over with just some thrifted little baskets stacked up just because I love this color. And then of course my Google Home over here, and some more thrifted and retail pieces going on over here. So I got this gingerbread house, which I absolutely love, at my Hobby Lobby this year. And they sold out probably about halfway through November. And this little guy I got at Walmart. And then I just have a thrifted little copper pot down here that I put a Christmas tree in. And then a gingerbread little baking sheet that I just kind of used and propped up there in the background. I kind of thought it went along with the little gingerbread house there. And it's also why through my kitchen, you notice I kind of have like the Christmas cookie theme going, little gingerbreads on there, and like the things you might use to make cookies, like with that, and then the rolling pin over on that first little cabinet when we first came in. So that was kind of the theme in my kitchen this year a little bit. And then right here, I just put this little vignette together a few days ago with some thrifted pieces that I just got. This is all thrifted. This is all thrifted. This is probably one of my favorite finds of the year so far, is this box that I paid $5 for. It is gorgeous. I'm pretty sure this is an antique. I love it. And then I got all of these white pieces on top of it just because I think with the dark cabinet it makes those kind of stand out. Even the little nativity scene is thrifted, so I love that little setup right there. And then just here on my bar, I try to keep something here in the middle just to kind of fill up this big space. Since I don't have that big thing above my bar anymore, it was kind of different this year decorating for Christmas, but I absolutely love how I put all of this here. I feel like these are just really tall and beautiful and just wispy, and they kind of fill in this big space between the kitchen and the living room. I absolutely do love having this a big open kitchen and living room. So while I'm cooking and cleaning and all the things, or if my husband's cleaning and I'm sitting down watching TV at that point, whatever, we can still visit back and forth and all the things. So I do love having a big open kitchen. I just wish I had a dedicated dining room. But yeah, this is all thrifted here. These pieces that I put all together, this is the urn that I thrifted at a yard sale for $1. It does have a little lid. And so many people were like, that holds ashes. What are you doing? I don't know. I got so many different opinions on that. But this year it is acting as a vase for me. And then I have this little wooden, very primitive looking candle that I thrifted just sitting over here, and it kind of faces the living room side. Thrifted pears. I love these. Bowl, tray, these little coaster things, those little brass coaster things, they're thrifted. I just got those like a month or two ago. So yeah, I really like how this little piece turned out. I was kind of concerned with mixing the metals and different things, but I really like how it turned out. So that's just an example of collecting and accumulating things over the years. You can kind of put pretty little pieces like this together and then just add a little touch of retail floral, unless you can find it thrifted, and you have an amazing little arrangement here. Another reason I like to make arrangements and things like this on a tray or a platter is because I can easily pick all of this up and move it out of our way, especially if I'm serving a bigger crowd and we need the bar space for food to serve. So that's just an idea for you. Collect your beautiful things on something that you can move easily. That way you're not having to move one thing at a time. Okay, so now I've turned around and here's what sits in the middle of my kitchen. It is one of my favorite purchases of all times, and it is my huge farmhouse table that I got at an estate sale. I made over all the chairs to go with it. I wanted my chairs to be black and my farmhouse table to be just like old wood farmhouse authentic, and that is truly what that is. I love that piece still to this day, and I love how the chairs turned out. So these were thrifted and went with another dining room table, but I just painted them black, distressed them and sealed them and all the things. So pretty much everything on this table also is thrifted. I mean, everything except for the tree that's in this crock. So I got the wreath there actually is a thrifted wreath. Either that or it came from Walmart. But the table runner, all of the little decor pieces you see, except for this candle. Anytime you see one of these candles in my house, just know they came from Target. And I love them very much. And here's the table from this end with all of these little thrifted pieces. And yes, I will not walk away and leave this candle going here. This was strictly for video purposes. I should have brought one of those battery operated ones in here, but I love my beeswax candles so much. And we actually do use these thrifted napkins. I love these. They just go with my decor so well. So what we use these for is not really to wipe our mouth, but especially when the kids come over or when we're eating and drinking, we will like lay them out on the table, kind of like a placemat, without having to have big placemats out on the table or taking up space in the cabinet. So yes, I absolutely do still love my big farmhouse table. It is one of my most favorite purchases and furniture pieces in our house to this day. This is how I want all of my house to look, just very primitive and country. I love that so much. It brings me such comfort. I don't know, there's just something about that style that brings me peace and comfort. Okay, so I have stepped back into the living room just so I could kind of show y'all this side, and this is where our Christmas tree ended up this year, in front of the big bay window in our kitchen, just because it made the most sense to put it here this year since there was nothing there. We do have plenty of space to get by. Elizabeth has plenty of space for her wheelchair too. So I do have something to show y'all. Several of y'all told me that I should switch the rocking horse with the bear and the magazine rack holder here. since this had more of like kitchen-y things in it, like the cutting boards, the rolling pin, and all that, to the kitchen side. Well, I did take your advice and I did move that, and I do really love it. I just ended up moving the cord for the Christmas tree, and it runs behind that and plugged it in behind the refrigerator. So the curtains are just some more of that material that I got at Hobby Lobby. The lighting is going to get a little weird over here for y'all because of the window. But yeah, the little bear, he's thrifted. We did like a little mini makeover on him. The rocking chair is thrifted. The babies love to get him and carry him around. Then my Christmas tree, that is a King of Christmas tree, and it is probably one of my most favorite trees just because it has a very vintage look to it, and I love that you can get the ornaments kind of down in the middle of the tree or like tucked away down in there. I think that's my favorite part, and I think that's what gives it that vintage kind of look to it. I don't know, I just really love this tree. And then I did buy this tree skirt from Hobby Lobby this year because it has that brass look to it. And then over here I took, again, kind of keeping with the, I don't know, baking idea this Christmas season over here. I just have a bunch of cutting boards that I've collected because I do love to collect those, like I said. And then I have another little rolling pin and just a basket and a couple little, you know, towels and stuff hanging out of there. So most all of that stuff is thrifted there, except for the Christmas primitive towel. I think I got that, I don't know, it's some kind of little boutique or something. So anyway, then over here we have my Hutch. And again, another rolling pin, kind of keeping with the baking theme. And then mixing bowls on the top. And that's just all I did there on top of the Hutch. I did do a whole Hutch decorate with me, so we're not going to go into detail in there. I will open it up and show you a clip of it just in case you missed that video. But this Hutch is a Facebook Marketplace find, and it is another one of my favorite pieces of all times. This is exactly what I wanted for my kitchen, a place to put all of my decor behind some glass or on top, but then I also am able to keep some of our food and snacks and things like that in these drawers and in these cabinets. Now you may wonder, where do you keep all of your other food? Well, I turned an extra bedroom closet into a huge overstock pantry for our family, and it's just what works. Here's what the inside of my Hutch looks like. It is very packed. I know this, but this is why I love having this Hutch. It gives me a place to display all of my stuff without having to fill up my countertops, you know, where I'm actually cooking and we're eating and all the things. Try to do a little up close of each one. I've kind of moved a few things around, but not too many. We do keep our flour and sugar up here, so I do have to move, you know, a couple little trees when I need to get that out, but it's not that big a deal. Second shelf. Most everything in here is thrifted. If you see like a little Christmas tree or something, that probably came from Walmart or Hobby Lobby. But I can almost assure you that everything else in here is thrifted from somewhere. Okay, so there was my Hutch. I'll try to get up a little bit closer where y'all can see the top. And then over here is my refrigerator. That's just where I keep my apron because I do use that. I just hung a little bow on the hook to kind of dress it up for Christmas. And then here's all I did on top of my refrigerator. All thrifted. I even put one of those Christmas trees there you see in a canning pot, just because it gives that, I don't know, memory of canning with my grandma and all them when I was young. And it's black, and I needed something to put a Christmas tree in. So why not use a canning pot? And then over here is my coffee bar area. And this is behind the door that we came in at first right here. So this is kind of tucked in over here beside the refrigerator and then back behind this door. I'll turn the brightness up for y'all just a little bit because this corner does get dark, and it is packed with a lot of thrifted pieces. So this piece here I just have hanging up on a couple of little hooks on the refrigerator, and you can't put anything heavy on this because it's just hanging up by these little magnet hooks. But all of this stuff here is thrifted. This thrifted pitcher I got at the Goodwill bins not too long ago, and I use this to fill up with water to put in our coffee pot right here. So this is just how the coffee bar area looks with all of my thrifted pieces. That's like a doily looking apron that I have hanging right there. So many people told me they thought it was a valance, but I am almost positive it's an apron. So I just hung it here in the kitchen. Again, it kind of goes with the whole baking thing that I've got going on. And I put this little thrifted hutch on top of this thrifted table. I think I got this at an antique store. And we do utilize the space underneath here. This holds a lot of dishes and different things like that, so that my daughter can just pull the curtain to the side and get her dishes out. And then just a lot of fun decor pieces. But we also, you know, use this space also on a daily. So in here we have a lot of things that hold like our coffee, some to-go cups, different things like that. This little cat valance that I thrifted, y'all, it is still here. I just love how this looks. It makes this table just feel so cozy. But yeah, a lot of pieces here that I absolutely love. This is another one of my favorite little spots to wake up to in the morning. It just, I don't know, it's just a cozy little corner. So yes, y'all, that is my thrifted, mostly thrifted, 2025 Christmas kitchen. I try to make it festive, but I also try to make it still be very functional for our family, because we do live here. We have to eat, we have to cook, we have to do all the things here. I'm just kind of stepping back, trying to give you a overview of it, you know, all put together. It's hard to tell when all people do is just up close shots. So yeah, I hope that y'all enjoyed seeing the thrifted kitchen. I do think I'm going to go ahead and move into the living room and try to film that for y'all. But I might just put that to music, since I did talk all the way through the kitchen Christmas tour here. Because I know some people like you to talk all the way through, and some people like you to just play things to music. So I think I'll kind of switch it up here and do a little bit of both. All right, so let's go move into the living room. So you basically just do walk through my kitchen to get to it. I do have the front door open. I might have to go and shut that because it's making a really bad glare. But here's just kind of an overview of walking into my living room. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put y'all to music and let y'all just enjoy seeing all of my Christmas stuff put together here in the living room. I tried to go for a very country Christmas, a very nostalgic Christmas. Oh, I did want to point out one thing. So this Santa, I bought him last year, and he was like so pretty. He was the bright, bright red. But y'all, I just could not get past it. So I did take a little time before I decorated this year, and I painted this guy. I gave him a good little makeover, and he fits into my style so much better now. I know that traditional Santa is red and all the things, but you know what? I like him better like this. So I said I wasn't going to talk all the way through, so I will get quiet, but just know this, 90% of my decor is thrifted. So if you have any questions about where something is from, or if you might be able to get it online, definitely drop me a comment and I'll try to let you know. All right, that's the end of our little Christmas walkthrough. I hope this felt less like a tour and more like you were just here with me, going room to room, noticing the little details, and maybe even getting a few ideas along the way. I always say my home isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to be lived in, loved in, and filled with memories, especially this time of year. So thank you so much for coming over and letting me share our Christmas with you. If you saw something you loved or that sparked an idea, I'd love for you to tell me down in the comments. And if you are new here, I hope you'll stick around. There's always a little more coziness, thrifting, and decorating waiting for you next time. Thank y'all all again for being here. We hope you have a wonderful evening. We love y'all, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with a brand new video.